Hello out there on the interwebs. I hope somebody sees this and tunes in because this is totally unplanned, impromptu little pop-up AMA, ask me anything as they say. And otherwise, it's just going to be me talking to my webcam and talking to no other humans. So I hope some of you are out there trolling YouTube on your phone or on your device on a Sunday evening and you see me pop up. So feel free to post your questions in the chat. And the funny thing is, we call these AMAs Ask Me Anything, and I wanted to say it's a keto AMA. You can ask anything. I don't have to answer it. So I guess I don't really have to specify that it's a keto AMA. You can ask anything, but I am under no obligation to answer. But I would like for you to, keep it to keto, low carb nutrition and health in general, but metabolism, physiology. Although I will explain, coming to you au natural, as I sometimes do, no makeup, wearing a very baggy but very warm and cozy sweatshirt from my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon University, CMU in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This isn't stylish, but it is so warm and cozy. And I am also, full disclosure, we are enjoying a little bit of rosé on this Sunday evening. You know what they say, rosé all day. It's probably hard to see on the camera, but this was a little souvenir glass from Chateau Morissette, which is a winery in Southern Virginia. It's in a part of, I think the town is called Floyd, Virginia. And it's about 2.5 hours from where I live in North Carolina now, but I last visited and got this glass from a tasting in like March 2020, maybe 2 weeks or well, like 1 week before everything shut down with COVID. It just so happened it was a Sunday afternoon in early March 2020. And I called a friend and I was like, hey, listen, there's a really great winery. It's like 2.5 hours away. What are you doing today? Do you want to just take a long drive? And we drove up there, and if you get there early enough, you can just spend the afternoon having wine and cheese. And I think we must have stayed indoors that time of year, but they have a really, really nice outdoor area. So it's a nice way to spend an afternoon. And if you don't mind the drive, so that's what we did. And the rosé I'm drinking is from Chateau Saint Michel, which is in Washington State. And I actually visited Chateau Saint Michel in 2017. I think it's been that long. Fall 2017. It was great. The tasting we did and the way they explained and how to taste wine was actually really, really helpful. And I'm a little bummed. I don't love this rosé. I gotta say, Chateau Saint Michel, and I bought this at the supermarket. You can find Chateau Saint Michel in most grocery stores, at least here in the Southeast. But I don't really love this rosé, but they have a lot of other wine that I do like. So not exactly gonna spill it down the sink. Let's put it that way. It's yummy. It's just a little bit effervescent, almost like it's not a sparkling wine, but it's a little effervescent, and I'm not a big fan of that. But it's dry. If you're looking for like a very dry rosé, this would be it. Okay. Hey, there's Travis Stays and the carnivore guy. Hey, Travis. Let me see if there's any questions so far. And thank you for tuning in, by the way. I sometimes when I have a bad day, I very often think about getting on YouTube Live, unplanned and just talking to people. And I very rarely do it. I often talk myself out of it. And I should do it because I'm already feeling better that so many of you are here watching. I was just feeling lonely. And so this is great. Thank you for watching. And from clearing my throat, guys, I think I might have COVID. After I'm triple vaccinated, I'm double vaccinated and boosted. I think I might. It's mild, but the last 2 days I've had a sore throat, a little bit of congestion. Not so it's either super, super mild COVID or it's something totally unrelated. I haven't gotten a test yet. it's just so, so rare for me to be sick with anything. So for me to have a sore throat, I cannot even remember the last time I had a sore throat. So that's kind of like, ooh, that's a little bit of a smoking gun there. But anyway, that's if I clear my throat a little bit. Okay, somebody has a question about A1C. A1C 5.2, do not worry. Next question. Yeah, I would not worry about 5.2. Somebody's asking about fiber on keto. No, this is you don't, yeah, Travis answered carnivores eat zero fiber. We don't need fiber. Like there's this guideline, you're supposed to get X grams of fiber or you need this much fiber every day. You absolutely do not. If you feel better eating a certain amount of fiber, then eat the fiber. But you're not, as far as I know, you're not harming yourself in any way by not eating a lot of fibrous vegetables and other high fiber material. So I wouldn't worry about it. Whispering Angel Rose, thank you. I am open to suggestions, my wine-loving friends. Chianti and Brunello, yeah. I don't really have a favorite wine. It really depends on what I'm in the mood for. I can always enjoy a nice Pinot Noir, that's for sure. I generally prefer red, but I was on a huge white kick this summer, and I don't know if it's just because it was warmer out, because it's not the first time it's been warm since I've been of legal drinking age. I think I just wanted white for a few months, but yeah, I don't really have a favorite. It just depends on what I'm in the mood for. There are some questions coming in. I don't know about the eye floaters. Somebody's asking if keto helps eye floaters. I don't know. I can't promise that. And the funny thing about keto is that it's good for so many random things that it's entirely possible that it's good for X and Y and there's just no research on it, or it's so rare. I mean, eye floaters are not rare, but it could be a thing that's rare enough that nobody's really talking about it. So, the only way to know if keto is going to help something is to try it and see if that thing gets better. Yeah, somebody's from Australia. Yeah. I mean, time of day is hard, right? Because if you've got people all over the world that you kind of want to talk to, there's only so many time zones you can accommodate. Ooh, Michelle has a good question. Wait, let me take a little sip break here. What one piece of advice would you give to someone considering this way of eating? Well, the first thing is I would need to know why they're considering it. Are they obese? Are they trying to lose weight? Do they have type 2 diabetes? Do they have PCOS? I would want to know what the situation, like, why are they interested in keto? That would determine my answer. But my answer is probably going to be to read this crazy little book called End Your Carb Confusion, written by, oh my gosh, there's my name at the bottom after Eric Westman's name. The reason I'm recommending this book is because that's the one thing I would say. We explain how to do this in the simplest. You don't have to count. You don't have to measure. You don't have to track your food. There's no macros. There's no percentages. You don't have to put oil in your coffee. It's the simplest, most practical, real world way to do it. But if I had to give you an answer apart from, pimping out my own book, I would say start with keeping your carbohydrate intake very low. That's the first step. Worry about nothing else. Do not worry about fasting. Do not worry about how much you're eating or how often you're eating. Eat as much as you want, as often as you want. Just always keep the carbs really low and stay away from what you see in the store, the keto ice cream, the keto granola, the keto cereal. Eat meat and non-starchy vegetables. That's what I would say. Let's see. If I move my mouse a flick, like all the comments roll by. Somebody's asking, what is the best way to try to repair or raise one's basal metabolic rate if it has been lowered through too much past calorie restriction? I don't know that anyone knows for sure. There's a lot of different schools of thought on it. You might need thyroid medicine. And I'm actually writing, little plug. I'm writing a book about thyroid right now, totally unrelated to keto. It's going to be my first project that has nothing to do with low carb or keto diets. It's actually about thyroid. I hope to have it out sometime in the late spring, but you might need thyroid medicine. That's number one. Number two, I do not know how much scientific evidence there is behind this, but some people will tell you that you are going to have to go through a period of time of potentially gaining weight before you lose it, meaning you need to eat. You need to remind your body and give your body the signal again that there's plenty of food coming in. So there's no reason to conserve. There's no reason to have such an itty bitty tiny metabolic rate because you're starving. There's plenty of food coming in. They call it reverse dieting. Your goal during this temporary time would not be weight loss. Your goal would be repairing the metabolism. Then you go for the weight loss. I would also, if you're going to eat, I would lift, I would build muscle. But again, like this is just stuff you hear. I don't know how reliable that is. I would get your thyroid tested, but be sure to get a comprehensive thyroid panel. When this video is over, look at the videos tab on my channel. There's one that says critical info on thyroid. You want to watch that to understand what tests to ask for and why. Okay. Jazzer lost 100 pounds on keto. Congratulations, Jazzer 789. Your cholesterol is high, 485. You develop the cholesterol deposits under your eyes. Is this typical? Is there a cure? No, it's not typical. It's not unheard of. I would work with a keto-friendly doctor. I don't know where you live. There's various websites where you can search for a keto-friendly doctor. Go to the Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. Just search Society of Metabolic Health Practitioners. They have a directory. Dietdoctor.com also has a doctor finder. My advice to you, normally, I don't really care about high cholesterol, but of course, I'm not a doctor. Everyone knows I'm not giving medical advice. I don't normally care about high cholesterol. If everything else looks good, if all your other blood work is great, I don't really care about the cholesterol. But if you are having those xanthomas, people like, if you don't know what that is, you might have come across somebody that has like these yellow kind of fatty deposits around and under their eyes. That's what this person is talking about. I would increase my carbohydrate intake. If you don't, I'm not talking 200 or 300 grams of carbs, but like if you're still doing ultra strict keto high fat, I would shift, like transition a little bit away from that. Just eat a little bit more carbohydrate and see what happens. That usually, I don't know if that will make those xanthomas go away, but that should lower the cholesterol. And it is probably the cholesterol that's causing the xanthomas. And of course, not everybody with very high cholesterol is going to have any of those problems, but some people do. Jim says, will eating sugar harm your immune system? What do you mean by harm the immune system? I mean, chronically high blood sugar is terrible for the immune system, yes. Does that mean that you can never have a piece of cake, never have a cookie? No, but you don't, there's a reason people with type 2 diabetes get sick more often and have a much harder time recovering when they do fall ill with something, and it's because their immunity is compromised. So it's not I am not a zealot by any means. A little bit of sugar now and then, fine. What you don't want to have is chronically high blood sugar all the time. Cat Whisper says, will eating, that was Jim. What's the best way to eat for someone who has MS? So multiple sclerosis, there is some encouraging and promising research about keto for MS and Parkinson's and other neurodegenerative things. I wish that I could promise you that your MS would go away or get better. Or if you're asking for a relative or friend, that their MS would go away or get better. I cannot guarantee you that. But it is absolutely worth trying because there's nothing else. There's no good drugs. There's no other good dietary therapy. You might as well try keto. You literally have nothing to lose. Whenever people ask me, is keto good for X condition? Should I try keto for blah? My answer is basically always give it a shot because here's what's going to happen. It's either going to help a ton, it's going to help a little, or it's not going to help at all. It's going to be neutral. I've never ever heard of keto making anything worse, except that there are very, very rare genetic, like inborn genetic errors of metabolism where you should not follow a ketogenic diet because your body has a problem processing fats properly. It's very, very rare. With that exception, I've really never heard of keto making anything worse. So, like I said, it's either going to be awesome for you, it's going to help a little, or it's just you'll notice no difference. So, there's like literally nothing to lose by trying it for a while. Blood clotting disorders and keto. You know, I'm not super familiar with blood clotting disorder. I've heard of the thing you're talking about. I don't know that keto helps with it. If that's an inborn clotting thing, that might just be, I don't know that keto would help. I wish I had an answer for you, but I don't. Do I like berberine for insulin sensitivity and blood glucose? I do. I did a video on berberine actually a while back. If you search my, if I wasn't so lazy, I could put links myself. I'm just being lazy. If you search through all my videos, you'll see one that I did on berberine, and I went pretty deep into the science. But if you're doing keto the right way, you won't need the berberine. You can take it. I think it's fine to take. But if you really do keto and like not, you know, my co-author, Dr. Westman, calls it internet keto. I call it like Wild West internet keto, where there's like no laws and it's total anarchy. if you do like clinical keto, like a real, you know, strict ketogenic diet, or even not, you might not even need to be that strict. But if you're doing keto properly, you shouldn't need the berberine. But if you want to take it, I think it's fine. And I think it's, I wrote for about 7 years for a supplement manufacturer. And through the course of my work, I was like eyeball deep in the research on a lot of different vitamins, minerals, phytochemicals. Berberine is one of the few that I was genuinely impressed with the research. There's a lot of nonsense out there. There's a lot of garbage. Berberine, the science actually looks pretty. They actually call it herbal metformin. That's how powerful it is. It's pretty effective, but I just don't know if you need it on top of a good low carb diet. Oh, someone else is commenting about the xanthelasmas. Yeah, under the eyes. Laser was, I guess, yeah, you could have laser treatment. Thanks for saying, because I don't know anything about that. Oh, thanks, Daniel, for the kind words about Alzheimer's book. So Daniel, if you don't have diabetes, I would really encourage you to stop measuring your glucose and ketones. I would really, truly encourage you to just put the meter away for a couple of weeks or months, because we have people measuring when they don't understand how to interpret the numbers they see. I say this all the time. It's fine if you want to measure, but people make themselves really anxious over totally normal human physiology. So a blood sugar of 130 with ketones of 1, when are you seeing this? Are you exercising? Are you fasted? If you're on a very low carb diet and your blood sugar is that high, then it's that high for a reason. Your liver, if you're not eating that glucose, your body's making it. And your body's probably making it for a reason. And there's numerous reasons why blood sugar can be higher on a ketogenic diet. In fact, I'm going to stop being lazy and I'm going to finally put some of the links I keep mentioning in the chat here. So I'm going to post something for you that is a really long blog post, but all of mine are. This is a link to something I wrote that explains why blood sugar is sometimes higher even on a low carb diet. I wouldn't worry about it. I mean, if if there's more specifics you want to tell me about your situation, go ahead. But there's like, I'm not surprised by that. Glutathione. Ooh, Travis has a good idea. I'd love to do a vegan versus carnivore MS study. Yeah, that would be nice to see. That would be pretty sweet to see. Julia is, oh, well, thanks for the reminder, Julia. I'll answer your question in a second, but you reminded me. Everybody, do you know that Adapt Your Life, a company that I do online courses with, is having in-person events starting again this coming Saturday, February 5th. I will not be at the one on the 5th, but there's one in Raleigh, North Carolina on February 12th and a suburb of Atlanta, Georgia on Saturday, February 19th. I will drop a link in the chat to that and you can see all the details. Now, of course, if I do have COVID, I will have to see what I'm doing. But by February 19th, I think I would be fine. The 12th, I'm not so sure. And so, all right, Julia is in, we do these online courses, adaptyourlifeacademy.com. We do keto courses. And she's asking a question about that. Will we have, I don't know what you mean by Dr. Westman's blogs because he doesn't write blogs, but you will have access, your student portal, you will be able to log into that portal after the class. The only thing that's ending on February 3rd for that class is the Facebook support group. You can still log into your course. You can watch the videos as many times as you want. You can even, now I'm talking about a private student only Facebook group for this course, but Julia, you can even still access that Facebook group. It's just that it's closed to new content. So there's not going to be any new posts, no new videos, but you can still go back and read and watch everything that was already there. And that's separate from your course portal that, yes, you can still log into as many times as you want after that. People are talking about Terry Walls. Yeah, Terry Walls, but her diet was not really ketogenic. She was eating a ton of vegetables, and I don't think I don't think that's needed. And all due respect to Dr. Walls, I mean, she was wheelchair bound, and now she's doing bicycle races. So, like, hello, she knows what she's doing. But she was very, very big on like, you have to have this many from the allium vegetable family, and you have to have this many purple vegetables and this many cruciferous vegetables every day. And I just don't think that's necessary. I think if you do like a truly ketogenic diet or possibly a carnivore diet, you probably don't need that stuff. But yes, definitely like props to Dr. Walls for sure. Can I eat bacon every day? You sure can. You heard it here from a certified nutrition specialist. Yes, you can have bacon every day. Vitamin D. Yolanda's asking, I assume you mean long COVID because you said long vitamin D. So I'm guessing you mean long COVID. Doctor suggested she supplement when I asked about K2, or maybe you said low, has low vitamin D. I know these autocorrect and these typos on phones is crazy. It depends on how much vitamin D she's going to take. Like 2,000 IU a day, you probably don't need the K. If you're taking ultra high doses of vitamin D, I would want vitamin K with that. Oh, thank you, Sandy, for my book, The Stall Slayer. Third week on Sparkly Susan, thank you. I think that's all the questions. I wonder if there's anything else I need to say. Let me scroll up and see if I missed anything. What else did I talk about that I said I could put links to the berberine video. Let me see if I can find that. I mean, if anyone cares, I don't really know. But yeah, very excited about my thyroid book. And oh, it's going to take me a minute to find the berberine thing. Here it is. One sec. The sound is going to play for a second. Oh, there we go. Maybe not. My computer is super slow sometimes. I have to get this looked at. Okay, I'm putting the berberine video link in the chat there. Okay, well, I think that's all the questions. What else is going on in the keto world these days? Getting a little burnt out on it all. I mean, not on, I still eat keto myself or, very low carb. I just, I don't listen to a lot of the podcasts anymore. I don't watch a lot of the videos. I still try to learn more about the science. I've got, like, you can't see, but I've got like a stack of papers. I read the scientific literature, but getting a little, just a little, I don't know, maybe disillusioned by the constant bickering and arguing over minutia, over details that almost don't matter when most of us agree about the overarching idea. Most people are probably eating too much sugar and starch. Um, we just quibble over these teeny tiny points, and I'm just like, it makes me tired just thinking about it. So I stay away from a lot of the social media now. I mean, I'm on Twitter, very active, but like keeping up with the latest, so to speak, I don't do a whole lot of that anymore. Oh, Nancy, I'm not surprised. Nancy's husband was having memory issues, and at least it good for this neurologist for checking the B12. I'm shocked. I wish I wasn't shocked, but I think vitamin B12 deficiency is rampant among older people, and I think it's very often undiagnosed because nobody's checking, or it's unrecognized because this is something that's a huge theme in my thyroid book. The normal range for B12 is about this big. It's enormous. It's from like 200 to 900 picograms per milliliter or whatever. I forget what the units are, but it's an enormous range. So you could be way, way down at the bottom and be normal, and you could be quadruple. You could be 4 times as high as that at the top end of the range, and you'd be normal. So let's see if it's literally within arm's reach. Where's my B12 book? My bookshelf is right here. So, okay. I love this book. For anyone who's interested in all things B12, I love this book. Could it be B12? So really, long-term B12 deficiency can absolutely cause neurological and neurodegenerative problems. And in fact, sometimes it's misdiagnosed as Parkinson's disease or multiple sclerosis. And I just think it's not recognized anywhere near enough. Now, that's not to say that all cases of those diseases are B12 deficiency. They're not. But, before we go diagnosing someone with like a really serious disease, maybe we should just, like make sure they're not just deficient in a vitamin that could be easily corrected. So, will my thyroid book be on Amazon? Yes, it will. So I'm going to do it the same way I did my book called The Stall Slayer, which is I'm going to have it as a PDF that you can just download an electronic version, and it will be on Amazon on Kindle and a print on demand. So if you want a paperback copy, you'll be able to get that. And I don't know how long it's going to take. I finished my rough draft. I wrote it in like 2 months, and because it's a passion project, I was writing like a demon. So the rough draft is done, but like it could be out in a month, but I quoted very heavily from a nurse practitioner who's one of my favorite people in the thyroid world. And she and I have been in touch here and there, and we were thinking of collaborating on a project sometime down the line. And we kind of realized, well, why don't we just collaborate now? So she's reading my manuscript now. She is no doubt going to want to add her medical expertise to it. And so I don't know how long that's going to take. And I want this book out yesterday because not only do I get questions about this almost every day, it would be so much easier for me to say, read this book. And it's not going to be a huge encyclopedic thing. It's going to be like something you could read in 2 days. But it's so important. The information is so important. But I would rather wait and have my colleague add her expertise and have this book be even better and have it come out later than rush it and have it out now. And it's missing some things that are really going to be cool. But that's the really long answer to your question, that it will be on Amazon eventually. Yeah. It's like interesting to write a book that has nothing to do with keto. Now, it's a bit contrarian. I do raise some questions about like fiber and cholesterol, and because high cholesterol very often goes hand in hand with low thyroid. So we've got millions of people on thyroid medicine, also on a statin, because guess what? Their thyroid medicine is shit. It's the wrong type or the wrong dose. And if you want the details, just wait till my book is out. They're also on laxatives, because guess what you also get with hypothyroidism? Constipation. Again, your thyroid medicine isn't working if you are still depressed and constipated and cold and your cholesterol is still a zillion. You can see now why it was a passion project for me. I mean, I love keto and low carb. Like all my other books were also passion projects. This one is probably more personal to me than any of my other books. And I mean, I eat low carb. I lost weight with low carb. I have my own low carb personal story. Nothing like my thyroid story. I have lost so much in life because of hypothyroidism. I've I've just lost a lot of living, and you'll see when, not if, when you read the book, you will see, in the dedication and in my personal story, that if there's a silver lining to that really, really ugly black cloud, it's that I hope the information in the book will save somebody else from things getting as bad as they got for me. Or if somebody's already there, they will have a roadmap to get themselves out of it. Somebody's saying love her, but I don't know who the her is. If it's me, thank you. If it's somebody else, that's cool. Mary says, I've ordered your book. Thanks, Mary. Any videos of yours to watch till then? It depends on what you're trying to do. I would say when you go to my channel and click on the videos tab, all the videos come up. Just scroll through and see what titles speak to you. Tulip Joy, you were taking 1,000 micrograms every day, but then I read the supplement causes heart disease. What supplement? Are you talking about B12 or vitamin K? Because we were talking about vitamin K. I assume you're talking about B12. 1,000 micrograms of B12 probably will not hurt you. Not that I'm aware of. Oh, that is what you're at. See, your first question didn't have it. Then further down, it says B12. Do I think 100 milligrams of CoQ10 is safe for a healthy person? Yes, but I don't think anyone needs to supplement with CoQ10 unless you are taking a statin, in which case I very much highly recommend that you do supplement with CoQ10. I don't know that you need CoQ10 if you're not on a statin, and if you eat animal proteins, especially red meat, has I shouldn't say a lot of CoQ10. It has, and your body makes CoQ10 too. It's not something that you have to get from food. But I just, there's this raises a good point, actually. Sometimes people come to me, like clients come to me, or people just write to me out of the blue with their list of supplements, and it's like 18 things that they're taking every day, sometimes multiple times a day. And I'm always like, do you enjoy taking this many pills? Like, do you want to take all this, or would you be okay with maybe paring some of this down? Most of the time they're like, yes, I would love to not take all this. I can't even afford it. My naturopath said so, or this doctor said so. I think there's a lot of people taking stuff that they don't need to take. And it's not that any of it's going to hurt you. It's just how much is it helping you versus how much money you're spending on it. And anyway, I just think there's a lot of people taking stuff that they don't need to take. Richard saw lots of Maria Emmerich's books, but not many of Dr. Westman's. Well, Maria Emmerich has a lot more books than Dr. Westman. Maria Emmerich's written like a zillion cookbooks. Dr. Westman only has like 3 or 4 books. So, and they're not as popular, The fact is, and I know Maria personally, I love her, but the fact is, cookbooks sell better than some of the other books. That's not good or bad. That's just the truth. They're fancy, they're glossy, they've got all the colorful pictures. There's a reason people like cookbooks, whether keto or not. I hate cookbooks that don't have pictures. Now I know a real cookbook shouldn't need pictures, but I like the food porn. I do. Full disclosure. But yeah, that's just the way the publishing industry is and the way bookstores are. They're going to carry what sells, you know? Take monthly injections of B12. Over 50 people who have had bariatric surgery. So should I assume you've had bariatric surgery? No, if you're getting B12 injections, I wouldn't worry. I mean, dementia can happen for any number of reasons totally unrelated to B12. But if you are getting B12 injections, then I wouldn't think you would become deficient. And good for your medical team, or for you or whoever was the one that realized you needed the injections. Good on that person or people, because this is a very I don't know the word, underappreciated area, the post bariatric care, because supposedly if you have bariatric surgery, you are supposed to go through like a battery of psychological screening, because bariatric surgery is not for the faint of heart. There's a lot of complications. There's a lot of gnarly stuff that can happen if you do not stay on top of various nutrients and digestive function and all this stuff. And like in my, I don't have a ton of experience working with post bariatric patients, but like a little bit. And they I get the impression that they just go in, they cut you up, and they send you home. Nobody really checks in. Nobody's minding the store. Nobody's checking in with you every 3 months or so to like get these levels tested. So good that your team is. And I hope they're not just looking at B12. I mean, they should be checking you for iron and magnesium and all that other stuff. But like, this is some stuff. I did a video actually on bariatric surgery a while back. Let me see if I can find that one. Never, I won't find it. I don't have to post the link. You guys know my channel. You can find it if you want to. Ooh, maybe someday I will write about a book about statins. I I would like to not get sued, so I probably will stay away from that. But I just statin drugs. What can you say? What can you say? What other books do I have here that you all might be interested in? I mean, there's all the ones you know about, but how many of you have actually read the Atkins book, like the real Atkins book? That's a great book. Yeah, I don't know. I'll stick around another few minutes. We'll see if anyone has more questions. But yeah, check out those events. Oh, here's a question about my has the iron infusions because of the surgery. Yeah, that bariatric surgery is like, it does some stuff to you. And I'm not saying no one should ever have it. I mean, in an ideal world, nobody would ever need it. But I do know some keto oriented doctors who obviously know how powerful keto is. And they can still recognize that there are, and there's a lot of patients with morbid obesity or all kinds of complications who start keto, and maybe they were sort of like thinking about surgery or like going to have the surgery, and then they don't need it because keto's working so well that they just stick with keto and they don't need the surgery. In the ideal world, that's how it would work all the time. There are some people who, for whatever reasons, cannot get themselves to stick to keto. But when they have the surgery, that's kind of the line in the sand. You have to do things differently after that. You cannot eat the way you did before. So it's almost like that forces them to do something that they weren't able to before. So I would never say that the surgery should never, ever be done. I mean, frankly, that is my opinion, that it should, like, if somebody can't stick to keto, why not? And can we get them the help they need? Do they need a support group? Do they need a buddy? Do they need somebody literally checking in with them every day, twice a day? That's the problem, that there's no support here, right? Everybody can do it. You just might need a lot more hand-holding and nurturing than someone who just gets a food list and loses 100 pounds, right? But let me answer the actual questions. My daughter is seeking bariatric surgery for her 13-year-old daughter. So again, I'm not a doctor. I would so highly encourage this person to find out about keto. If you want to have them email me, send them my contact information or something, or because it's bad enough when an adult has this. This is a child whose entire life will be altered by this procedure. And I just think there's so many other options. The whole family can do keto or low carb. We talk about that in here. Get the whole family on board. Now, if the whole family doesn't need a strict ketogenic diet, the whole family can eat less garbage. The whole family can eat less sugar, right? No one in that family needs to be having Frosted Flakes for breakfast. I don't care if they're not diabetic or So a 13-year-old, I would so very much encourage them to look into something besides the surgery. And yes, kids can do keto. I have a video on that. Yes, keto is safe for children, but of course, I would recommend that you work with a doctor or nutritionist that knows what they're doing. Teja or Tija, Amy, can you tell me, is it okay to follow 5 days low carb and 2 days normal, which means high carb? The spikes that are caused on those 2 days, will they damage my health? I cannot answer that without knowing anything about your situation. If you have diabetes, don't do that. If you're trying to lose 200 pounds, don't do that. If you're healthy and lean and active, and some days you just want to eat less carbs and some days you want to eat more carbs, you do what you want to do. But this is why it drives me crazy on forums or social media. When somebody asks a question and you've got 800 armchair warriors chiming in with their advice, when they don't even know the person's situation. Should I fast? Should I do blah, blah, blah? Well, I don't know. Should you? What are you trying to accomplish? Are you on 5 medications for blood pressure and diabetes, or are you perfectly healthy? This matters. So, no, lean but pre-diabetic. If you have pre-diabetes, I would stay away from the high carb days. You might not need to do ultra crazy strict keto, but I would not recommend having high carb days. Maybe medium-ish carb. If you want to reverse pre-diabetes, I wouldn't mess around, or why don't you maybe be strict for 3 or 4 months and then see where you are and reintroduce carbs. I would not do the 2 high carb days. Some respect to Dr. Atkins. Yes. Love me some Atkins. Mary's asking which book. I mean, frankly, I'm not talking about the new Atkins, which was written by Dr. Westman and along with Drs. Finney and Volek. You could read the original 1972 version, which I don't think I have. This is the book that got me started in low carb circa 1999-ish. I think this is the 1992 version, Dr. Atkins' New Diet Revolution. And I read this again about 3 years ago for the first time in a long time. I was blown away by what's in here. In fact, I was so blown away that I did a video about it. I could not believe how far ahead of his time Dr. Atkins was. And he was here's the thing that stood out to me. When I first read that book, I was brand new to low carb. I was not a professional nutritionist, no formal education. I was just overweight and sick of being overweight, And So I was just reading this like, okay, where's the food list? What am I supposed to eat? And I mean, I read it cover to cover, but a lot of it was probably over my head at that time. And we were talking 20 years ago, right? I can't believe that. But reading through it now, he's talking about things that like are only recently starting to get more attention in the medical world, like insulin, right? How many times have you heard me talk about all the millions of people that have perfectly normal blood glucose, but their insulin is through the roof, and the insulin is causing all kinds of health problems regardless of the blood sugar. He was all over it. So just so far ahead of his time, such a brilliant man. And everybody thinks of him from the Atkins diet or like as a weight loss doctor, which is fine. I'm sure he has no problem, or had, would have had no problem with that. But it's he was just a brilliant doctor. I mean, do you know, a lot of people don't know that Robert Atkins, I'm putting a link to that video. Atkins was a cardiologist. He was a cardiologist telling his patients to eat boneless burger patties and to eat bacon and to eat cheese and to not worry about the saturated fat and eat eggs. So far ahead of his time. And anyway, what a blessing to the world he was. Um, can keto be responsible for elevated liver enzymes? Usually, keto actually is really great for improving liver health and lowering those enzymes. However, um, those kinds of things, and I only learned this recently, those liver enzymes can actually be elevated for a lot of other, let's like get real. Alcohol is not a health food, but if you do a really, really intense workout, your liver enzymes could be elevated the next day. And I'm sure there's a lot of other things like acute injury, all kinds of other stuff. Like some of these levels are a lot more volatile than we think they are. So if yours are high and you're doing a keto diet, they are probably high for some other reason besides keto, because for the most part, keto should actually help those liver enzymes. Um, Oh, everybody, thank you so much for the nice words about my books. Do you all know? So, I showed you, for those of you who tuned in late, I'm wearing a sweatshirt from my alma mater, Carnegie Mellon in Pittsburgh. I was a creative writing major in my undergrad. I was like liberal arts, humanities, all the way. And so I have a master's degree in human nutrition, but I consider myself a writer first. And I mean, because even within the nutrition industry, so to speak, most of my income comes from writing, right? I'm an author. I do a lot of freelance writing for, I mean, that company, Keto Chow. I write blog posts for them every now and then. I did freelancing for that supplement company. So, like, I'm kind of living the dream, even though the dream doesn't really pay a whole lot, but like, I get to combine the writing with nutrition. Like, that's pretty cool. But so anyway, the point of me saying that is when somebody enjoys my writing, that's like the best compliment I could get, is that they like my writing, they enjoy reading the books or my blog. I love it. So thank you so much for all that. Um, Change the whole family's diet. Yeah. If you're going to put a child on a low carb diet, then the whole family has to at least make strides in that direction. Like, it's hard enough sometimes for an adult to do it on their own. Now think of a kid. They're the odd one out at the school lunch table, or like they're the weird one when their friends are going out for pizza. So at least at home, they should have support. And like I said, the whole family might not need to do a strict keto diet, but no, here's what I say to people. Nobody's health ever got worse when they stopped eating garbage. So like maybe the whole family could stop eating white bread and sugar and like jam and jelly, and there's like very easy swap. Maybe the whole family could do cauliflower rice instead of potatoes, or like the shirataki noodle. Like it just and not only as a show of support, chances are there's multiple other people in that family who have something going on that would benefit from a low carb diet. Um, hmm. Terry Hooper is 64. Are there any specific things I need to do if I've had a full hysterectomy to keep hormones from tanking? You're on bioidentical hormones. No, I think you're doing what you need to do to make sure that your hormones don't tank, which is you're taking hormones. So as long as you trust your doctor, that your doctor, like you feel that they know what they're doing and whatever they're prescribing for you is actually helping. Because that's the thing. I see, like as you mentioned, Armour Thyroid, at least it's Armour and not Synthroid. I see people on on medication, specifically thyroid medication, all the time, who still have every damn sign and symptom they had before the medicine. So guess what? That medicine ain't doing shit for you. Sorry, I'm not actually intoxicated. I've had like 3 sips since we started this thing. I just get really worked up when it comes to thyroid, like really worked up over thyroid. So as long as you feel well, then whatever you're taking is working. But in terms of keto and or low carb or diet, there's not really anything you have to do. But like I tell all women of any age, don't be afraid of protein. A lot of women grew up in an era where we were told that your protein portion should be about the size of the palm of your hand or a deck of cards. That is trash. There's zero science behind that. So if for some reason you've been like eating little bits of protein because you're like not supposed to eat a lot of protein, don't worry about that. Marjorie has a good question. Are there any keto support groups on YouTube for free? Well, I'm sure there are tons. I will point you toward Dr. Westman, actually, now this is only once a month, but the first Tuesday of every month. So the next one will be what? 2 days from now. Is that the first? That'll be February 1st at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. They do a live broadcast of what used to be the Durham, North Carolina support group. And it's with Casey Durango. Some of you have heard me talk about her before. I'm not sure if it's on her YouTube channel or not. Let me see. I don't know if I can get a link to it. I think I can get a link to it. Give me a second. But that's a support group, but it's not like there's no engagement afterward. It's just that's Dr. Westman Live. You can ask questions. I would just, if you want to go to the Adapt Your Life YouTube channel, that's the company that I work with who does all the courses that I mentioned. Like I do ketogenic courses. They just have a ton with Dr. Westman talking about keto, talking about the science of it, talking about no, you don't have to do macros, you don't have to drink MCT oil. That's not a support group, but it's better than nothing, I guess, right? Why do I get so worked up when I talk? I need to I feel like I'm very loud and very, I don't know what the word is for that. Oh, my computer is so slow. I'm just trying to get the link for the support group, but I'll have to see if I can, let me see. Because you would just tune in on YouTube. Oh, here it is. Let's see. This is just the schedule for it, but you can see when no, that's June. What? Sorry. 1 sec. May 2021. I'm just seeing old links for it. Oh, well, yeah, I'm sorry I can't find a good link for it, but they broadcast, she might have it on Twitter. Give me a second here. I think she's maybe advertised it already since it's coming up in 2 days. Let's see. Hopefully I can get this for you. I don't see it yet. Am I not seeing it? Well, she'll post it. I don't know if you use Twitter or not, but yeah, I'm sorry. Cat Cookie, if you have metabolic syndrome, yeah, you're in the right. Just do low carb. Forget about Weight Watchers. Although you can do Weight Watchers as a low carb person. I know you can, like I know people that do a low carb or ketogenic diet and belong to Weight Watchers for the meetings. They like the support. They like that community. So there's nothing wrong with that. You can just ignore their diet advice and just go for the community, right? Um, how do I shrink your thyroid nodules naturally? I don't know. I wish I could tell you. That may or may not happen. It may or may not happen. If you have actual nodules, you might want to look into iodine supplementation. That is a very controversial issue, but see if you can find a thyroid savvy doctor, because if you have actual nodules, that could be an iodine issue, but I can't say for sure. And I mean, I wish I could tell you that keto is going to shrink those nodules. I can't tell you that. I there's just a lot of things, like keto is pretty magical. It doesn't actually cure everything. If only it did. If only it did. Um, can you be on keto and still be on a statin? Yes. Yeah. A statin's just a medication. But not medical advice, but yes, you can be. And there are some keto doctors out there who do prescribe statins. In their medical opinion, based on that patient's situation, feel that a statin is appropriate. That's an individual medical decision to be made between that doctor and that patient. But I know there are people on low carb diets who get statins prescribed. How do I wean off of artificial sweeteners? Oh, Melissa, you're in our course, I think. Um, do I recommend cold turkey or wean off? I don't know. I think that you had posted about like feeling a Splenda addiction, like trading a sugar addiction for a Splenda addiction. It depends. If you don't want to ever use anything sweet, then go cold turkey, then stop using them, period. But if you think that they might have a place in your life, in your future, then maybe cut down. I mean, like, there's no one answer to that. There's only what you want to do. So if you want to like stop using them, stop using them. But I I mean, what do you use them in? Because like our food list doesn't allow a whole lot of sweet stuff. So for those wondering, we have our Keto Made Simple Masterclass. The food list is the same food list as phase 1 in End Your Carb Confusion. It's actually the same list as Dr. Westman's famous page 4 diet. I'll put a link to that. It's the same food list, even though it looks different and the way it's written is different, but the actual food and the quantities you're allowed are the same in all of these lists. It's all the same list. And so I don't know what you're using sweetener in, because we don't do net carbs. So nobody's doing like keto brownies and keto cookies and keto. Like, I use artificial sweeteners in my coffee, and I do use the sugar-free syrups like Devinci or Tyranny or the Skinny Girl, and that has either sucralose or Ace K or whatever in it. Or like people Crystal Light with the aspartame, or sugar-free Jello, diet soda. I don't know what else you're using it in. And if you think it's a problem, not like millions, well, I should say millions. I don't know how many people are actually doing low carb diets around the world. Let's just say many people can include those sweeteners in their diet and do just fine. Some can't. And it's not so much the sweetener itself as the fact that those sweeteners are keeping you addicted to the almond flour brownie and the coconut flour cookie and the keto cake and all that stuff. But like, you're not eating that when you follow our list anyway, so I don't really know what you're using it in. But I wish I mean, the only person that can answer that question is you. And it's just it's your own choice. Do you want to go cold turkey, or do you want to cut back slowly? You know, and there's no right or wrong. There's no good or bad. There's only what you decide to do for yourself. Is there any way to find out if you have fatty liver other than having a scan? I want to find out if a year of low carb, losing 40 pounds. So funny, you should ask. I just read a paper about this the other day. If I were you, I wouldn't worry, because if you did have fatty liver, if you're doing keto, if you've been low carb for a year, you've lost 40 pounds, there is a very good chance that you have reversed that fatty liver. And what you could do is just get a fasting insulin test. That was the number one most powerful indicator of non-alcoholic fatty liver, was your fasting insulin. So you could get a fasting insulin test done. It's just a blood test. I don't think you need to. I honestly wouldn't even worry. If you've been low carb for a year, if you did have fatty liver, you either don't anymore or it's already on the way to improving. I mean, you could get your triglycerides would be a good giveaway, maybe. So just a normal blood test, triglycerides, HDL, and your fasting insulin, I would think. Oh, thank you, everybody. You're saying such kind things. I appreciate it. Dash and Gal, doctor and OBGYN don't prescribe hormones. Well, you can find another doctor. You know, you can find depending on your health insurance or your account or even what country you're in, you may or may not have access to other doctors. But just because one or two doctors won't prescribe it for you, there's a couple of thousand other ones out there who will. Marjorie has a good question. Do you think keto is better than protein priority diet? That's a really interesting question, because when you do keto and you haven't been scared away from protein by all the internet craziness, you are prioritizing protein, especially if you're trying to lose weight. Keto is not a high fat diet. It's a low carb diet. I'm going to actually put a video that I did a video about this exact thing, because I was getting a lot of questions about, like, what do I think about the high protein thing? What do I think about Ted Naiman's thing? If you look at Dr. Westman's page 4, or look at, sorry, one sec, I'm looking for the video. Be right with you. The funny thing is, here's that video on the chat. If you look at the phase 1 food list, or you look at Dr. Westman's page 4, you know what's unlimited? The protein foods, the beef, the pork, the lamb, the eggs, the seafood, the poultry. What is limited? The added fats and oils. If you do keto in a clinical, like research proven approach to a low carb or keto diet, you are prioritizing protein. This isn't stupid, like hit your fat macro keto craziness. So that probably confuses you even more, but I mean, you are prioritizing protein if you do keto in a non-insane way. I guess is the best way I can say it. Hot tea and diet. Melissa, if you're only using artificial sweetener in hot tea and diet soda, I wouldn't worry about it, unless you just on principle want to not use sweeteners. If you have a desire to just not use anything sweet, then don't use it. But like, if that's all you're having it in, I can't imagine it's all that much. Jorge, mi amigo Jorge está aquí. Hola, amigo. My friend Jorge from Venezuela. Can saturated fat cause fatty liver, or are carbohydrates the culprit? Carbohydrates are the culprit. If you feel good, do you think hormone replacement is needed for optimal health after menopause? No, because I'm not a history expert, but like, women Homo sapien women, human being women, have been going through menopause for a long time before we had hormone therapy and hormone replacement, right? So menopause should be just a natural part of life. I'm not saying it's always going to be easy. Like, I'm not saying it's always going to be roses, but like, I actually find it odd that so many of us need the hormone replacement. Like, what's going so wrong with a biological process that has been happening forever? And I'm not saying it's wrong to take the hormones. I think take whatever you need to take to feel well. Like, absolutely. But do I think everyone needs it? No. I think if you feel well, you don't need it. I know tons of older women who don't take anything. What do I think about eating carnivore and keto during the day and adding one banana to improve sleep? I think that's fine. Like, I think it's fine. I just, and you don't need my permission. This is like funny to me sometimes. If you know that something works really well for you, do it. You don't need anybody's blessing. You don't need Ted Naiman to pat you on the head when you post your picture of your salmon and your broccoli and your fat-free yogurt for dessert. Like, you don't need anybody's permission or anyone's blessing. Do what works. I mean, I appreciate that you want my opinion. Like, that's very cool. But I think some of us have become so afraid of our own bodies. And we're so scared to trust our own innate sense of how we feel in our own skin that we abdicate to somebody else. Well, I feel really, really good eating X, Y, and Z and eating this many meals and doing this, but Dr. So and so said that it's bad to eat twice. I should only eat once a day. I should be fasting. I shouldn't be eating honey. I should do that. Who freaking anointed them God? Stop anointing other people as your nutrition gods. The person who knows the most about your body is you. I should close on that note, but let me just make sure there's no more questions. Yeah, I really, don't be afraid to experiment, people. I mean, don't go crazy, but like, don't be afraid, and don't be afraid to do something that you know works really well for you, even if it wouldn't work for somebody else. Look at all the carnivore people now that are eating fruit, they're eating honey. 2 years ago, they would have kicked themselves out of the carnivore. You're eating honey? That's not carnivore. Oh my God. They changed what they were doing because it wasn't working so well for them anymore. So they shifted their approach. Tiha again, or Tisha, I don't know how Teha, so I don't know how to pronounce your name, but what are the chances that the fat I am taking on the keto diet turns into visceral fat? If you are eating very, very low carb, probably very low chance of that. But you don't want to overeat, like, it is possible to gain fat and to gain visceral fat on keto if you're just chugging fat for no reason. But if you're eating a very, very low carb diet, especially if you're losing weight, the chances of that being visceral fat is very low. Oh, Heather has a good question. How long does it take to reverse hirsutism from PCOS on keto? So that's the hirsutism or hirsutism. I'm gonna have to stop soon. My throat is starting to go. That is the fancy medical, I might give out to the fancy medical term for body hair, especially facial hair. And so women with PCOS, because of the elevated androgens, the testosterone, they tend to get facial hair. They may have like a lot hairier arm. Women have arm hair, but they would have like a lot more. Unfortunately, I cannot say that it is going to go away. We don't know that it goes away. And I even heard Dr. Westman say that once, that it might not go away, but it could. So it's like not for sure that it won't, but not for sure that it will. I can definitely tell you the hormonal imbalances that are causing that go away on keto or get much, much better. But I don't know if that's actually going to like stop the growth of hair once it's already started. So I wish I could tell me, check in again in a few weeks or months and tell me if you're noticing anything, because that would be great. I mean, I would hope. I mean, everything else goes away, all the other stuff. So I would hope the hair goes away, but I don't know. Marcelo's asking because of a lack of ketosis. Don't even worry about that, Marcelo. Forget it and enjoy your banana and enjoy your better sleep. You don't have to be in ketosis all the time. Ooh, I have no idea what the answer to this question is. You would have to look it up on a reputable medical website, Forge Not Cast. The hematocrit level that would indicate polycythemia. I don't know. You would have to look that up. Go to like the Mayo Clinic website or go to somewhere reputable and see what they say. Okay, now my voice is starting to give out, so I'm going to end. Sorry, Rizky, it looks like you just tuned in and I'm about to end, but you can watch the replay. Thank you, everybody, for joining. And so remember, for those of you that were wondering, that free online Durham support group will be, it's on Crowdcast, not on YouTube. So you have to go to Crowdcast Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern. That's the first Tuesday of every month. So that's a monthly thing. And then check out the link. I'll put the link one more time to the events that I'm doing. I will be speaking live at 2 events next month. So check those out. Oh, did I do the wrong? Oh, I think I posted the wrong thing. One sec. Copy link. This should be. Mary's asking about the next live. I have no idea because this one wasn't scheduled. I just decided to get on. I don't know when I'll do one again, but you know, I have tons and tons of videos going back 3 years. So if you're bored and you're looking for something to kill time with keto, just go through the old videos and keep your eye out for my thyroid book. I don't have a title yet, which is weird for me. I usually would have a title for the book this late in the process, but I'll see what that other person says who is going to be writing it with me. And all right. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go enjoy the rest of your Sunday or your Monday if you're in Australia or New Zealand. Where's the stop button? There it is.